Good Thursday evening, everybody. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. Hope everybody's having a great Thursday evening out there. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you to Linda, Tim Key, Melissa Smith, also to Rain Maves, Charisse, Matt Mittens, Sharon, Anthony, and Steven. Thanks all for joining in the live stream chat and the live stream, and all of the others as well that are not chatting with us as well. Thanks for joining the live stream. Much appreciated. Again, if you guys are just coming into the live stream, would be much appreciated if you would press that thumbs up button down below. It helps to get as many people as possible on tonight's live stream. So I definitely appreciate it because we have a big storm moving in as we head through the next couple of days. And let's zoom this out. This is a very awesome picture of what's going on here. This is the satellite view of the United States, and we see a couple of things happening here. I did want to point out that's why I had this screen up. Check this out, guys. So we have the first system that moved through Texas yesterday. Look at all of the reds and purples out here across portions of the Carolinas, Georgia, and Florida. And then we see another area of red back in here toward the Central Rockies. This system is going to be diving down into portions of the southern plains tomorrow. That will be bringing us more severe weather as we go into Thursday. So that is what I wanted to show you. And actually, let's go over to the latest warnings here real quick before we go in towards our severe weather coverage for our Friday and Saturday. We do have a couple of warnings to talk about. This is across eastern Mississippi, getting into western Alabama. Actually, we did have two warnings. We still have one severe thunderstorm warning here. This is across portions of eastern Mississippi, just about to enter into western Alabama. So if you live in the Columbus, Mississippi area, you're probably going to be seeing some pretty big hail and also some damaging winds with this storm. This is capable of producing ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with this storm. It was located over the Waverly area or 8 miles west of Columbus. So this is moving into the Columbus. It's moving east at 30 miles per hour. So watch out for that. So if you live in the Columbus area, you're already seeing the storm move through. If you live in the Steens area, this will be in your neck of the woods at 7:25 this evening. So definitely heed the warning. We have another nasty storm out here just north of Highway 82. This is just to the north of Reform. So between Millport and Reform here into western Alabama. This is just northwest of Tuscaloosa. So just to get your bearings on this storm. And this is another supercell that has a special weather statement on it. These are issued where strong thunderstorms are possible. This did have a severe thunderstorm warning on it earlier. It has since weakened just a little bit, but we still seeing wind gusts over 40 miles per hour and pea-sized hail with this as it travels slowly off to the east at 20 miles per hour. So if you live in the Reform area, Shaw and Lubbock, those areas, definitely be on the lookout for that storm as it travels mainly northwest of the Tuscaloosa area. Okay, so we'll continue to monitor those storms there. We got another severe thunderstorm warning outside of the Memphis area here. This is getting into eastern Arkansas, so we're going to look at this storm as well. We actually have a couple of storm chasers on this storm. This is also capable of producing mainly that 1-inch quarter-size hail here. This is until 7:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time for northwestern Phillips County. Again, this is eastern Arkansas, and this storm was near the Holly Grove region or 13 miles southeast of Clarendon, Arkansas, and it's only moving east at 20 miles per hour. So this is a slow mover moving east at 20 miles an hour. Just warned for quarter-size hail, so definitely move your cars indoors for this one. If you live in Marvel, Watkins Corner, Lakeview, Kendall, Poplar Grove, Turkey Scratch, Kingtown, Gobble, Trenton, or Cypert, those areas into eastern Arkansas, you're going to be next in line for this severe thunderstorm. Again, mainly a hailstorm with this system as it pushes farther off there toward the east. Then we kind of zoom out again. We have some more warnings back here into western Kansas, widespread warnings here into the Goodland, Kansas region. So let's take a look at what we've got going on back here. Again, this is mainly for a gust front moving through this area. We're not really seeing much in the way of hail. This is for Wichita County, Wallace County, Western Thomas County, Logan County, and Greeley County. This is all in west central Kansas. And this goes in effect here until 7 o'clock p.m. Mountain Daylight Time or 8 o'clock Central Daylight Time for this area. Severe thunderstorms were located along a line extending from 6 miles southwest of Levant or Levant to 10 miles west of Winona to 3 miles southwest of Weskin. So these are moving south at 45 miles per hour. Trained weather spotters have confirmed 60-mile-per-hour winds with this gust front of storms as it moves through the Monument area, Russell Springs, Horace, and Tribune. This also includes Interstate 70 in Kansas between mile markers 48 and 72. So definitely want to be on the lookout for this. Probably not a lot of lightning with this as it crosses into portions of western Kansas, but we have a little bit of a gust front starting to develop with this storm, and you can see that gust front is going to be pushing from north to south. So you can see that across portions of western Kansas here. This will be pushing down eventually in toward the Garden City and Dodge City area there into western Kansas over the next couple of hours. So if this hangs on, we could be seeing some 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts getting through that time frame. So we'll continue to monitor those showers and storms as well. But that's all the warnings we got across the United States. Remember, we got the storms down here into eastern portions of Mississippi, western Alabama we're watching. We actually just got an extension to this warning here, so let's get back down to the Alabama region, and then we'll go over the severe threat for your Friday, because I know you guys got questions about that as well. So we have another warning. This expires in 49 minutes. This is for northern Pickens County and southern Lamar County. This is in west central Alabama. So this has just crossed into the western Alabama state line here. This is until 8:15 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At 7:22, a severe thunderstorm was located over Columbus, as we were mentioning, moving east at 30 miles per hour. So we'll watch that storm. And this is warned again for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail. So just watch out for some severe weather there. So Reform, Millport, Kennedy, the Ethelsville area, North Pickens Airport, Forest, Macedonia, Melbourne, and Shaw. All these areas into west central portions of Alabama. Definitely be on the lookout for this storm as it crosses, again, north and west of Tuscaloosa, okay? So we'll continue to watch those storms through this live stream. But let's go and look at the Saturday or the Friday setup, and then we'll get into Saturday's setup as well for severe storms. That is why we went live today. We got another threat of severe weather going in toward your Friday time frame. So let's take a look at these areas that we have highlighted here for Friday. The Storm Prediction Center already from yesterday has put out a enhanced risk for severe storms, again, centered across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex here in North Texas, and then down toward the Waco region in Killeen, Texas. So this is around the Red River area up here, just to the east of Wichita Falls, so the Oklahoma-Texas state line, near the Red River, down through McKinney, Texas, Dallas, and the Fort Worth area, Arlington, and then getting down there into Waco and Killeen, Texas. Those are the areas we're at most risk for numerous severe thunderstorms going through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. And then in the yellow outline here, that is a level 2 of 5, which is a slight risk, and you can see that does cover much of east central Texas, down into southern Texas here, parts of southern and southeastern Oklahoma, and then getting in towards, again, the Houston area. So from San Antonio, Austin, getting into Tyler, Texas, Houston Metroplex on westward, and then getting down again into southern portions of Texas, we have that level 2 of 5. So in the yellow, that's a level 2 of 5 here. On the orange we just mentioned, around the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, that's a 3 out of 5. And then we have a 1 out of 5 in the area surrounding that, which is the dark green area, getting close to the Shreveport area over here. Getting closer to the southern side of Oklahoma City, Wichita Falls, and then back into west central Texas. We'll be watching you guys for some marginally strong to severe storms, and that also covers portions up here in towards southwestern Arkansas as well. So the brighter the color, the better the chance of severe storms. So if you were in the orange shaded color, I'm most concerned about you going through the day on Friday. So let's break down the severe weather threat. Let's first look at the damaging wind threat. It looks like right now the severe weather threat is not the highest with the damaging winds. Yes, we could be seeing some gusts over 60 miles per hour anywhere, especially in this yellow shaded color here, or even the brown shaded color, but that is definitely not the highest risk of severe weather going into the day on Friday. The highest risk for severe storms, or the hazards, would be the large hail. Okay, so we have the large hail risk here. This is in the red shaded color. That's a 30% hatched area for hail over 2 inches in diameter. And if you guys remember from yesterday, seeing reports of 4.5 inch hail, that was grapefruit size hail there into central Texas in the China Springs, Texas region. Definitely seeing reports of hail going through roofs and into people's homes. We saw lots of windshields be busted out yesterday as well. A lot of car dealerships probably had a lot of damage as well. So definitely a very destructive day of severe weather yesterday with a lot of the large to giant hail out there. That is more of what we could be seeing as we go into tomorrow. So if you live in the yellow or red shaded area for hail, and then again, to zoom this in, this is in the McKinney area, Dallas, Fort Worth, Arlington, down into Waco and Killeen. You definitely want to be on high alert for the destructive hail tomorrow. Some of these hailstones could be 3, perhaps back up to 4 inches in diameter as we go in towards your Friday afternoon and evening time frame. And not to be taken even lighter, but we still have a threat down here into Austin, the New Braunfels area, getting into San Antonio, Kerrville, those areas. We have the threat as well for damaging hail over 2 to 3 inches in diameter across these areas, but the probability of that is a little bit lower. It's a 15% hatch risk, but it is still a formidable threat for hail. So we'll continue to monitor this as it goes across portions of central Texas down here. So that by far is the biggest threat from the storm. So if you live along and south of the Red River here toward Dallas or Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, some of the bigger metroplexes there, you definitely want to be on high alert through the afternoon and evening on Friday. And then finally, looking at the tornado threat, we have in the brown shaded color, that's a 5% shading of tornadoes. Again, it covers far southern and southeastern Oklahoma up here toward the Ardmore area into North Texas. So Gainesville to Denton, up toward Paris, Sulphur Springs, Plano, Dallas, Fort Worth, getting down into the Arlington region, Waco, Killeen, and the Mexia area. Those areas we have to be watching out for some isolated tornadoes going through your Friday afternoon and evening time frame. So we do have a tornado threat in addition to the very large and giant hail threat and the damaging wind threat. So we definitely have to be on high alert for this as we go through the Friday time frame. And again, we still have a 2% shading down here in the Kelly Green areas here in toward Austin, Texas, San Antonio, getting down here into southern Texas toward the Rio Grande Valley. This is just to the west of the Houston metro area to get your bearings on this. So that is something to watch. So we could even see a couple of spin up tornadoes down here into Austin, San Antonio, and then even farther southward from there. So we'll continue to monitor that going through tomorrow. But let's kind of time out some of these storms. So let's go back here, look at what the models are showing, and I'll answer some of your questions real quick. Let's go back to the HRRR model again. Very accurate weather model, especially in the short term. So let's go back to that, and the 18Z is just coming out here. Or it's not quite. Okay, well, let me see what's going on here. For some reason, it didn't load the 18Z on here. Okay, let's go back to... Let's look at what the NAM model's showing here then. For some reason, the 18Z HRRR did not want to load for this. So again, I apologize, but let's look at the NAM 3KM. Still a fairly accurate weather model, so let's not crush this model too much. But it is still there, so let's go in toward the day on, let's go in toward the timing on these storms, okay? So once this loads here, all right, so this is going in towards this evening. Again, nothing to worry about. You can see clear as can be across North Texas and into Oklahoma here, Little Rock, Shreveport. You guys will all be dry going through overnight tonight. This is the midnight time frame. If you guys can get a bearing on that. Again, I know you can't see the timing of the storms, but I will tell you the timing of the storm. So this is at midnight. This is going into tonight. And we got a couple of storms up here just north of Amarillo. Probably not anything severe, so we're not too concerned about this. Just some heavy rainfall up in this vicinity getting into that midnight time frame. And then getting in toward about 6 a.m. This is 6 a.m. now on your Friday, and not much happening. Again, pretty quiet down here. Maybe some showers moving into the Oklahoma City metro area, getting down toward like Lawton, Fort Sill, into North Texas. But those will likely be just some light showers. I'm not too concerned about really any thunderstorms during this time. But we'll continue to watch that. And then as we go through, say, the mid to late morning hours here, this is about 11 a.m., and we start to see our main push of energy pushing across the Texas panhandle here into western Oklahoma. This will start to fire off some showers as it crosses into Amarillo, Lubbock, and then on up there toward Fort Sill, Lawton, and then Oklahoma City. So we'll continue to monitor that as we go through tomorrow morning. But ahead of that, we're moistening up the environment. We got dew points rising into the 60s, up here into the Dallas-Fort Worth area, Austin, down to Waco. So we will be seeing some more unstable air as we go into that time frame. And then as we go into our mid-afternoon, boom, we got some big thunderstorms developing here just over or west of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So these are the supercell thunderstorms we're watching for going in toward the mid-afternoon tomorrow. So 2, 3 o'clock, be watching out for that from McKinney down through Dallas, Fort Worth, and then down into to places like the Kerrville region, San Angelo, Brownwood, just west of Waco and Killeen. That's going to be the initiation of those supercells. And then as we go deeper into the afternoon, we can see that starts to develop more of a loosely organized MCS, or mesoscale convective system. And then that will push across portions of East Texas as a line of storms, with more supercells forming across the DFW Metroplex overnight. So this is going into the midnight time frame. So again, well after dark, we're going to see these severe storms pushing through with some destructive hail, some intense wind gusts, and possibly some tornadoes as well. So we'll continue to monitor that. Then going in toward your Saturday morning, this will all clear out, turn more into a heavy rainfall threat going in through the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So this is 4 o'clock in the morning. While there could still be some stronger storms lingering around, I do think that for the most part, a lot of these storms will be losing their luster, and we'll be seeing some heavy rainfall replacing the severe weather threat as we go into your Saturday morning time frame. So that is what we're seeing with the timing of the storm. So the most severe, the strongest storms will likely fire from about 2 to 3 o'clock. So I'd say from about 3 p.m. Central Time to 9 p.m. Central Time. So from mid-afternoon through mid-evening, you want to be watching the threat for supercells capable of all severe hazards here. We are going to be watching out for destructive hail. We're also going to be watching out for the damaging winds and a few isolated tornadoes, and more specifically, hail of 2 to 3 inches or higher in diameter. That's your golf ball, your baseball, maybe even some softball size hail again going into tomorrow. We also have to watch out for some 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts with these storms, and a few tornadoes, probably the weaker tornadoes, probably EF0 to EF2 strength, but nonetheless, still looking at a tornado threat as we go through the day on Friday across portions, especially of North Texas here. So Dallas, Fort Worth, down to Waco, down to Austin. We'll continue to monitor that as well. Yeah, thank you so much, Linda. Yeah, everybody, please press that thumbs up button down below. The more likes we get on this stream, the more people who join, okay? So I definitely appreciate it. The more word gets out about the severe weather here that we're talking about going through Friday and Saturday. Glad to see you live, tuning in from Michigan on my lunch break. Oh, you're at work. All right, well, thank you for joining. Much appreciated, Shadow. Thank you. Must Have Snacks says hi. Thank you so much for joining. Anthony, what's McNairy County, Tennessee looking like until sunrise? You mean sunrise tomorrow morning? Tennessee, let's see up here. I'll just kind of cover the whole state. I'm not exactly sure where McNairy County is, but going through Tennessee through this evening, we got a couple showers over here east of Knoxville. But other than that, we don't have too much going on here across portions of Tennessee around Nashville, Clarksville, Crossville, and then back into Memphis. We're really pretty dry. Even into Jackson, Tennessee here, pretty dry through the next couple of hours. And then overnight, again, we may have a couple of storms moving in here to places like western Tennessee. This is around the Jackson, Tennessee area and on up there, I-40 into portions of Nashville. So we'll be continuing to watch that. So the Dixon area, Nashville, Jackson, may have to watch out for a couple of storms, but the severe weather threat is very low. So we're not too concerned about that going into the overnight hours. And then through sunrise, again, those will weaken and push to the east. Maybe a couple of isolated storms waking up mid-morning over there into the Cumberland Plateau, into eastern Tennessee, the Smoky Mountains over here towards Knoxville, Crossville, and Cookeville, those areas, down I-40. But those will not be severe going into tomorrow. So I'm definitely not concerned about that. So hopefully that helps you out there with Tennessee. You're 2 hours east of Memphis, so okay, so yeah, just I think the time frame to watch out for any wet weather will be probably after midnight and going into about 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and then by the time sunrise comes around, those storms will be pushing east toward Nashville, Murfreesboro, and then eastern Tennessee, and then places like Jackson, Nashville, and even portions of the Dixon, Tennessee area will dry out through sunrise tomorrow morning. Thank you for hitting the like button, Ice Cream. I definitely appreciate it. How is Florence, Alabama looking today and Friday? Yeah, sure. Let's go down here and look at Florence. There's Florence there into northwestern Alabama. So over the next couple of hours, the Florence area, we may have a couple of storms to contend with. We'll watch for the threat of severe weather, but I think as we go into later on this evening and early overnight, so this is around 1 o'clock in the morning where you're seeing it right now, a couple of cells are possible to fire up here, but for the most part, these will be losing their luster. Again, it's an unfavorable time of day for severe storms, but while I can't discount the threat for some smaller hail and some heavy rain and maybe some gusty winds, perhaps 40, 50 miles per hour with these storms, I just don't think that they're going to be too severe as they push through. So the Florence area, watch out for these around midnight or so. Maybe a wave of storms there. It won't be too widespread, just kind of isolated to widely scattered and kind of weakening as they do so. And then pretty dry really through sunrise tomorrow. So, and then going through the day tomorrow, we clear out. We just don't see much happening. So pretty dry day on your Friday for the Florence, Alabama region. Dylan says, will Sulphur Springs, Texas get severe weather? Yeah, we were just mentioning back here into Texas, the Sulphur Springs area does actually have a threat for severe storms, and that's just a new alert that came in, so don't worry about that sound there. But into the Sulphur Springs area going through tonight. So let's start tonight here. We're A-OK, pretty dry, and then waking up sunrise tomorrow, we're looking pretty good, actually, across Sulphur Springs and much of the DFW Metroplex. This is 7 o'clock in the morning on 4/28. This is your Friday morning, and then as we go through the morning hours, we could have a couple of showers start to develop toward the noon time frame to about 2 o'clock, so this is up toward Gainesville, Wichita Falls, and up there toward the Red River, mainly west of I-35, not too big of a deal there, but then as we go through the afternoon hours, I'll be watching you guys here in Sulphur Springs. I'd say from about 5 o'clock p.m. Central Time through about 9, 10 o'clock. That's your main window tomorrow for severe weather in the Sulphur Springs area. So if you live in Sulphur Springs, storms will fire off to your west toward the Fort Worth, Denton, and Gainesville area, and then farther south toward Waco, right along I-35 there. Those storms could be rather feisty with some supercells producing the destructive hail, 2 to 3 inches or greater in diameter hail there. 60 to 70 mile per hour winds and perhaps even a couple tornadoes. And then as they push east here after the dinner time frame, they might again hold together a broken line of storms through the 6-7 o'clock time frame as they push across Sulphur Springs, and then more widespread storm activity possible after midnight. This will turn more into a flash flooding threat with heavy rain more than anything else getting into after midnight. So we could still have severe weather after midnight there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Plano, Denton, Sulphur Springs, and Paris, those areas, but I think it'll be transitioning more to a heavy rainfall threat than anything going into your Saturday morning. And then that rainfall threat for Sulphur Springs will be on and off really through much of the day on Saturday. We really don't dry out down here until Saturday evening for the most part. So it'll be a very wet start to the weekend across Sulphur Springs. That is for sure. Let's see here. I do have questions. What is a geomagnetic storm? Well, a geomagnetic storm is a storm in which there's like a coronal mass ejection. It's just a big solar flare, basically, type of storm kind of on the sun's surface. And when that opens up, it actually sends a geomagnetic storm to Earth, and that's where you can see the aurora lights. So the geomagnetic storm, I know it's like a tongue twister, is like where the surface of the sun, it has like a coronal mass ejection. It's basically just a lot of heat bubbling up in one area on the sun surface, and then it spreads out and it actually goes toward Earth. and that is what we call a geomagnetic storm. And then you get to see the aurora lights. That's what we saw. So if you lived in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and even as far south as I saw pictures from Kentucky, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, there's a bunch of pictures out there of the aurora lights from last week there. So very interesting. Am I covering Florida? Yes, I am. If you have any questions about Florida, I would be glad to help you out there, Tracy. I do have a weather forecast video if you want to check it out as well, Tracy. And anybody in here, hit the description down below if you want to watch my weather videos. Very detailed. If you like detailed weather breakdowns every morning at 9 a.m., this is the place to be. So make sure you subscribe down below. I'll have a new video for you guys in the morning for sure, and we'll break down this. But I do have Florida in my forecast. We're just mainly talking about Texas more because there's an enhanced risk in Texas, and Florida is a level 1 out of 5, a marginal risk. Not that it's less important, but it kind of is, because a level 3 out of 5 is an enhanced risk, a level 1 out of 5 is a marginal. So we're focusing more of our attention right now in North Texas, because that is where the most severe storms will be on Friday. All right. But if you have any questions about Florida, I definitely will be open to answering any of those questions. How is the Ohio Valley for tomorrow? Sharon said. Let's go up here to the Ohio Valley. Looks like we got a little bit of a boundary moving through here, a little bit of a cold front or so. We got a little system moving through. So let's go back to this evening. You can see we have some rain showers pushing through this evening, again across Ohio into Indiana here. Excuse me, not that big of a deal. Just going to see some general stratiform rain showers here, just a fancy term for just steady rain. So if you live into like Fort Wayne, Indianapolis, Columbus, on up toward Cleveland, Toledo, those areas, probably just seeing some on and off rain showers, but a pretty decent soaking rain up here over the next few hours here going into your Friday morning. That'll lift northward. We'll have some dry time, and then maybe a couple of storms trying to bubble up in the heat of the afternoon across especially western Ohio here, down through the Ohio River Valley, east of Louisville. So we're talking central and eastern Kentucky, getting into West Virginia. Again, one or two of these storms could become strong enough to produce some smaller hail and some gusty winds, but certainly the widespread severe weather aspect is not there for tomorrow. So if you live in the Ohio Valley and you're worried about severe weather, that is not going to happen tomorrow. If it does, it'll be mainly for hail. But I don't think any organized severe storms is definitely not on the table for the Ohio Valley tomorrow. So this is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This will continue to push on to the east, maybe becoming a little bit more organized as it pushes through Columbus, Chillicothe, down toward Charleston, West Virginia there, and then it'll fall apart as we go in towards the, we lose the daytime heating after sunset, and we'll be drying out. And then this weekend comes around, we got another boundary moving through on Saturday, cold front that could spark off a few showers and storms, again, from Ohio down into central Kentucky by 7 o'clock. In the evening on Saturday evening. So another piece of wet weather coming through in toward the evening hours on Saturday. What about San Antonio, Texas? So I know we're bouncing around here a lot. San Antonio, Texas. Yes, we got some severe weather. So let's look at this again. Going through this evening, you're A-okay. Going into the overnight hours, you're A-okay. Through much of the day tomorrow, you're actually A-okay as well. So Austin down to San Antonio, Houston, Corpus Christi, all you guys down into southern Texas. This is 2 o'clock in the afternoon on your Friday. And then going in toward about mid-afternoon, boom, we get those supercells to develop just north and west of Austin and San Antonio. And then as it pushes down into San Antonio there, it won't reach you guys really until late evening hours. So this is 9 or 10 o'clock, and this will be maturing as it does so. Some probably more of a wind threat for your area rather than big hail, but we still could be seeing some destructive hail here as well as it pushes into Austin and San Antonio. This is toward mid to late afternoon on your Friday. But it looks like as it takes more of a linear mode, it's probably going to be more of a damaging wind threat more than anything else as it pushes across this region. It'll clear out after midnight here, maybe some lingering showers, but those won't be severe as the main boundary will be pushing across portions of coastal Texas during this time frame. Yeah, you're welcome, Sharon. Thank you for asking. What's this El Nino stuff about? Yeah, we're going into an El Nino right now. I don't know what you really mean by that, though. An El Nino is just a phase of climate. Right now, we are in ENSO neutral. We are not officially in an El Nino as of yet. I do think, though, into May and June, we'll be officially into El Nino status. That's what it looks like, anyway. And what that does is just you notice more of the climate. The climate's what do you call it? I'm trying to think. I'm drawing blanks right now, guys. Anybody can help me out here. Um, Um, I really can't think of the word. I'm having a case of the Mondays right now. The climate pattern. There we go. The climate pattern for El Nino means that we're going to have more of an active subtropical jet across the southern United States, and then a La Nina is where you have more of an amplified jet stream, also kind of a little bit of the neutral as well, more of an amplified jet stream, and it means we're going to have more waviness to it. So, for example, let me just zoom out. I know we're kind of all over the place in this live stream. That's all right. We're going to get to all your questions here as we can. So, with more of an El Nino pattern, what we're going to be kind of transitioning to here is you have a subtropical jet, usually kind of like this. It's not always perfectly like this. There's always going to be some waviness to it at times, but you get the idea as it's across mainly the southern United States. So usually in an El Nino pattern, we kind of dry out up in these areas here. Okay, so that is what we see. But with the La Nina pattern, or what we just got out of 3-year La Nina, you see more of an amplification of the jet. Usually it comes down across the west, amplifies across the middle of the country, and then kind of, again, de-amplifies to the east. Brings big troughs down, some colder air on the backside. Usually brings a lot of warm-ups with the Gulf of Mexico open. That's why we saw all the severe weather like we did down in those areas as well. And then even with a neutral like we just are in now, obviously not always, because we have a trough like over in this area. We have some ridging across the middle, and we have another trough over here as well. That's kind of a blocking pattern that we're in right now. But we definitely see a more amplification, kind of craziness in the jet stream like that, and with a neutral setup. So there's just a lot of differences. Just really depends on what you mean by that. But yes, that's kind of what's going on right now. Gobbler, what's up? What's up for Dallas on Friday? This is what's up for Dallas. Destructive hail. That's what we got going on. That's what's up. Yeah, we got some hail coming in for Dallas going through the Friday time frame. These storms won't reach Dallas until about 2-3 o'clock. They'll be pretty much developing right off your doorstep there. So from McKinney to Dallas, Fort Worth, and then down toward the Waco, Killeen region, and then we'll see that kind of back build farther south and west there, just to the east of San Angelo. Those storms could be bringing the threat for destructive hail. Again, we saw the 4.5-inch diameter hail, the grapefruit size hail there into China Springs, Texas yesterday, with a lot of damage to roofs, siding, trees, windows, a lot of things. So hopefully we don't see that tomorrow, but if you do, this would be the favored area. Again, Dallas, Fort Worth, McKinney, Arlington, Waco, Killeen, Austin, Brownwood, San Angelo, those areas. So that is what's up for Friday. And also it could come at the cost of some damaging winds, a couple of tornadoes. Then this will kind of grow upscale into more of a heavy rain threat through the overnight hours. So that is what's up. Yeah, you're welcome, Crystal. So no tornado for San. I can't say that for sure, but they're definitely still a threat for tornadoes. So let's kind of zoom this out and kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So let's go back to the tornado probabilities for tomorrow. If you're talking about San Antonio, there is a 2% shading of a tornado tomorrow. So there's a 2 to 4% chance of a tornado tomorrow if you live in San Antonio, Austin. If you're talking about San Angelo, there's currently a less than 2% chance. So I suppose there's maybe 1% chance you could see a tornado tomorrow, but very, very low chance. You get the idea. Does that mean Florence, Alabama will have more bad weather with El Nino? Just more unsettled weather. I wouldn't say the weather will always be bad. There will definitely, we're into the warm season now, so we're going to have more severe weather events, certainly, but I wouldn't say the weather is all bad across the South. There will be some dry time in between and, lots of sunshine from time to time. Once we get into the summer months, it'd probably be a wetter summer for you guys down in these areas. but probably not as hot. I know the last couple of summers have been pretty hot down here in the south with a lot of rain and active weather, unsettled times. I think we're going to be kind of clearing out a little more um, to get sunshine from time to time. But when it's wet, it won't be as hot. So that's kind of the gist of that. You're welcome, Gobbler. No problem. Anybody else got any other questions? Since severe weather season is starting late this year, and it may as well stick around until October. I think the severe weather threat will be around for a while. I know we're not even into May yet. May will probably be a big month for severe storms. I know June is sometimes the big month for severe weather. I think as we go into like the middle of summer, so like June, July, and August, there we transition more to what we call of the convective wind events, like derecho season. You see more of these MCSs that like kind of what's developed in the past couple of days in Texas, where you see these supercells build up and then boom, like a couple hours later, you get these big mesoscale convective systems with hurricane force winds and stuff like that. That's probably more of the tune of what we're going to look at going in toward June, July, and August. And that's pretty typical by that time of year anyway. It just got really dark, and Florence clouds are dark. Yeah, the Florence area, you probably have some dark clouds because if you're looking south, and I'll go back to the radar here. If you're looking south of Florence, there's some storms down in just south of you. There were a couple of severe storms. Those happy news to pass along is that the severe weather has ended there so far for the Columbus area, and then over there toward the Reform area there we're mentioning with severe warnings earlier on into western portions of Alabama and eastern Mississippi. Those warnings have been allowed to expire or be canceled. So that is some good news. Definitely some good news. We still, however, do have some warnings across portions of eastern Arkansas, though. We have some warnings down here. So if you live east of Little Rock, if you're traveling up I-40, watch out for these storms. These could become severe enough to produce some quarter-size hail, probably some 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts mixed in with these storms as well, but definitely not too concerned about this. We're not too concerned. Just some general severe thunderstorms. When do I predict the first hurricane? You're really gonna put me on the spot like that, Linda, huh? Well, I think probably I don't know. Well, with El Nino, we're transitioning to an El Nino, and the Atlantic is probably trending more average to slightly below average this season. I would say probably probably the middle of summer. If you're talking about a landfall, I have no idea, to be quite honest with you. I'm not going to forecast that. I'm not going to predict it. Very hard to do. But if you're talking about the first hurricane in like the Atlantic, are you talking about the first? Okay, first of all, before I answer this, the first hurricane in the Atlantic, the Gulf, or the Pacific? Which one are you talking? Are you just talking about a hurricane altogether in either, but the Pacific, Atlantic, or Gulf? Then I'll answer it because it's very hard to answer when you don't exactly know. What will temperatures be into early May? Very chilly. So if you live up in the upper Midwest here, temperatures will be actually very chilly. And I'll kind of go over this real quick for you guys because it's a very interesting pattern we're in. So let's go to the GFS here. Again, guys, we're not doing nothing organized on here. I'm just answering your questions, going over some of the latest warnings on the radar. We do have severe warnings, the weather pattern. Again, you guys can find all this information on my videos that I put out in the mornings for sure. But I like doing these live streams just to get you guys aware of the weather pattern. So I definitely appreciate you guys being on here and I answer your questions. But yeah, going through the temperature trends, very interesting setup here. So as we go through the rest of, say, this week, and I did not want to do that, so I'm not sure. There we go. All right, so going through the rest of this week here, once this loads, because for some reason my computer is being very slow today. So there we go. Going through this weekend, we got some cooler weather up here. So, like the Twin Cities in Minneapolis, Madison, getting down here through Chicago and the Northeast, those areas will remain cool. While the ridge that we were talking about will build into the Great Plains and the High Plains here, and to places like the Dakotas, Nebraska, Kansas. This goes through this weekend. It'll be also warm ahead of these storm systems across the Southeast. That's what's going to spark the heavy rain, the severe weather over the next few days. But look at as we go through portions of early May, you still see that cooler weather spinning up here across these areas. This is going into about the end of the month. This is Sunday, April 30th. And we have an upper level low pressure system that's going to be kind of spinning up here in the central Great Lakes. So if you like the warm weather, unfortunately, up into Wisconsin, Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, you guys get the idea. The northern and northeastern United States will remain cool going through the end of this month, while the west starts to bake, especially down here in Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix, Death Valley, down here toward Los Angeles, Las Vegas, we're going to be very warm. This is going toward the end of the month. Now things start to change a little bit. This gets a little more interesting. So let's go through into early May, and we still have that upper level low, very pesky to move. We have kind of a cutoff low pressure system. Remember, the main push in the jet stream is down across the southern United States. That's with the subtropical jet, and it's cut off from the main jet stream. You see the low pressure system that's spinning up here. The jet stream's way down here to the south, so it doesn't have really anything to push it along. And so with that in mind, it's going to remain cool going into the first week in May across Detroit, Toronto, Ottawa, Boston, New York City, Chicago, Minneapolis, La Crosse, Madison, Green Bay, Milwaukee. Those areas are going to remain cool going through the first week there into May. But look at across the Great Plains, we're warming up a little bit, especially down into Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, going into early May here. But I promise you guys, by the end of the first week in May, if you guys are tired of the cold, here comes a big ridge off to the west, and that will be overtaking places like Wisconsin in towards Illinois, Iowa, and Minnesota. And we'll warm back into the 60s, if not the 70s, toward the end of the first week there into May. Okay, so just wait another week or two, and I promise you guys, we'll start to see more spring-like temperatures, if not downright summer-like temperatures, going in towards early May there. Especially if you live out west. I know we could be up in the 80s there into places like Washington State and that. And then again, this ridge will continue to build. The GFS, again, the farther you go out, again, it gets a little bit more inaccurate. But in general, the ridge will build into the middle of May, and that's why I think the severe weather threat in conjunction with the warm temperatures will increase into the middle of May. So this is getting closer to your Mother's Day time frame. This is May 9th and leading up to Mother's Day, and we got a little bit of a system potentially developing. Again, where it develops, how it evolves is very much a $1 million question. Again, we're talking 10, 15 days from now. But certainly something we'll keep an eye on. But there are trends that I've been seeing in the long-range weather models that do suggest that we're going to get back into a pattern such as where we do have a lot of moisture building up. And let me show you that real quick before I start drawing on the map here. So let me look at the dew points going in toward that time frame, because this is also very intriguing. So going in towards that Mother's Day weekend time frame, the dew points and the temperatures will both climb. So that means that we're going to put more energy in the atmosphere, and that is going to produce more severe storms. And you see some of that energy builds here into the first week in May, but mainly in the central and southern plains. So places that have seen the severe weather already is going to continue to see it. So these areas here that I'm outlining in white, be on the lookout for more classics, Great Plains, High Plains severe weather setups from southern Nebraska through Kansas, Oklahoma, into north central Texas, and even at times south central Texas, really going through the first week there in May. That's pretty much where the severe weather is going to be limited to. But as we go into, say, the second week into May and going toward Mother's Day weekend, there are changes, and there are some changes that do occur, and the instability may start to build a little more. You see more of the deeper blues going well far up to the north. We're talking into Iowa, southern Wisconsin, Illinois. This would be the time frame to watch out for more widespread severe storms that could fire up even farther north into like the Midwest and those areas. So we'll be continuing to watch this area getting toward the Mother's Day weekend time frame. There is a signal that if there's enough of these ingredients coming together, sure, then we could start to see more widespread severe weather outbreaks again. Tornado outbreaks are certainly on the table, and who knows, maybe even a derecho event. You always have to worry about a derecho event going into May, June, July, and August, those time frames. So we'll continue to watch it as we go through the next couple of weeks. But just kind of looking ahead, showing you guys what you can expect. We always like to look ahead at the long range weather forecast in my videos, especially, and in my live streams, because again, if you guys have vacations planned and stuff, I want you guys to know the trends of the weather. Of course, they'll always change, but I would like to give you guys as much accurate information as I possibly can. What's accurate about a long range forecast? Well, there's a lot that can be accurate about it. The big picture is there for severe weather, so we want to warn you, say, hey, maybe 7 to 10 days out from now, we could have some bigger severe storms than farther north. That's kind of what we're saying here. So that is what it looks like going into that time frame. All right, so hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of where we're headed. Okay, we got warmer times ahead of us here. We're gonna get out of this rut we're in with the cold weather up to the north. I promise you. You just have to wait until the end of the first week there into May, and then we're all in the 70s and 80s from here on out. I don't think we're gonna see much in the way of any frost and freeze conditions on a widespread scale through the rest of this year after this week. Could there be some frost and freezes up to the north in like the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and like the UP of Michigan? Sure, but are they going to be widespread? Probably not. So that's kind of what I'm saying going through the early half there of May. Are the dew points still in Florida? Because the dew points are always they're everywhere. You could have 40-degree dew points, but it's not conducive to severe weather. The higher the dew point is what we have to look at for severe weather potential. So usually they say dew points of 55 degrees or higher is conducive to severe weather. That's what we're seeing here, especially getting into the second week in May. So derecho start in May. I thought it was June. Well, May is derecho, the start of derecho season. It goes all the way through like August, May through August. And to believe it or not, May is actually the month that has the most frequency of derechos. This is the month of May. Second to that is July, and then June is the third. Okay, so the most frequency of derechos, looking at derecho climatology, is actually May, and then the second most frequent is July, and then June is the third. Also, will there be any more snow for Minneapolis? I know you guys have had a lot of snow up there this season. Definitely a lot of snow. I don't think you will see any accumulating snow, if that means anything to you, but I can't say whether or not you're going to see any more snow this year. It's still possible. Still late April. If you have enough cold air, and again, we have the cold air in place, so we have an upper level system up here. I still think there's a chance for snow showers and flurries, but will there be any sticking snow, any accumulating snow? I don't think so. So at least that's a silver lining to take from that. But again, just joining, been here, and have not pressed the like button, please do so down below. We're almost to 100 likes. We need 24 more likes to get to 100, guys. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for joining again. It really means a lot. Spread this live stream out to as many people as possible. Again, more of these weather discussions, lots of fun, great to be on here with you guys. Appreciate it. When do you think the El Nino will form? I think the El Nino is already forming now. I think we're waiting until officially an El Nino has to be plus 0.5 to get to the El Nino status. We're at 0.2, so we're almost there. We got another quarter of the way to go, and then we'll be at El Nino status. I think late May into June, that's when we're officially going to be in an El Nino. I do have a question. Has there ever been any fire tornadoes or ice tornadoes? There's been fire tornadoes before. I'm not too sure about ice tornadoes, though. Yes, you're good to sleep in Florence. You're okay, ice cream. Yep. Yeah, nothing happening in Florence, and if you do, it'll just be some thunderstorms, just some garden variety type storms. I'm not concerned about severe weather in Florence. Yeah, you're welcome, Tanner, Tyler, and Trevor. Thank you. Appreciate it. So just a few scattered snow showers can't be ruled out? Absolutely correct. Yep. All right. Well, that's what we're looking at. And again, here I'll show you the risk going into Saturday. It's not too big of a risk right now. It's just a marginal risk. This is going into your Saturday. This is a marginal risk down here into like the New Orleans region, Mobile, Montgomery, Dothan, and then getting into Northwest Florida, like the Panama City, Tallahassee regions. Maybe just some damaging winds and hail on Saturday, but this could be upgraded. Parts of this could be upgraded to a slight risk. That would be mainly across the immediate Gulf Coast regions, but I just don't think that we're going to see any widespread severe storms on Saturday. That's just what it looks like right now. All right. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning down here to North Florida we want to get to real quick before ending the live stream. Again, thank you guys so much for joining. Let's get down here real quick to the... It'd be nice if I could take this off too. Let's do that. All right, so there we go. Let's take the probabilities off and let's get down here. We got kind of a line of storms down into northern Florida, the Gainesville region down to Ocala. This is mainly for 60-mile-per-hour winds. So southeastern Bradford County, eastern Alachua County, northern Marion County, northwestern Putnam County, and southwestern Clay County. This is all in Florida, northern Florida, until 9:45 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. This is traveling northeast at 40 miles per hour, and the hazard is 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. That is the threat with these storms. So expect damage to roofs, siding, and trees. And if you live in Gainesville, the Interlachen area, Keystone Heights, Melrose, Florida, the Fort McCoy, Florida region, Citra, the Hawthorne area, University of Florida, Spar, and Florahome, Florida, those areas, watch out for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And that eventually will be spreading up to the north and east if this holds on. And this will be pushing toward the Palm Coast region, Fruit Cove, and then maybe up there toward Jacksonville Beach if this spreads a little farther off to the north and east. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. The last time we were in an El Nino was 2015. Yes, well, I don't know. I have to look at that. It's been a while. I think you're around the right time frame, or you could be correct. I have not looked at that. I don't look at climate too much with regards to that. I probably should, but I enjoy hot weather as long as there is no wasps or bees around. Well, we got some warm weather coming here in the next couple months. So we have been in La Nina for what, 8 years now? No, we've been in La Nina for 3 years. We've been in La Nina for 3 years. We're just coming out of a 3-year La Nina, not 8 years. Not that long. Trust me. There'd be a lot more problems if we're in a La Nina for 8 years. What do you think Missouri will look like the next few days to weeks, Haley says. Missouri. Well, while I can't tell you all the way through what could happen, over the next, 2 weeks, I can tell you what's going on here the next probably 48 hours. So going through the rest of this evening into portions of Missouri here, it looks like things are, well, if it decides to work. There we go. Just give me a moment. My computer is running very slow today. I have no idea why. All right, so there we go. We're going through this evening, maybe a couple showers toward like St. Louis, but those will push farther to the east, so not that big of a deal. Going over the next couple of days, you can see on Friday for the most part, most of Missouri on Friday is dry. Maybe a few showers and storms here in the Kansas City, St. Joseph, down towards Springfield. Those will likely not be severe. The severe stuff will stay to the south across southern Oklahoma into Texas there and southwestern Arkansas. And then going into tomorrow evening, looks pretty dry for the most part there. Maybe a couple showers towards southwest Missouri there into Joplin and Springfield. And then as we go into Saturday, it's just chillier, cooler, and maybe some backwash moisture from that upper level low there coming in overnight Saturday and into Sunday. But other than that, we're not looking at too much in the way of rainfall over the next, couple of days through this weekend. We have not been in a La Nina for 8 years. We've been in a La Nina for 3. The storm in Arkansas lost its... Yeah, it lost its strength. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what's happening this evening. Is a lot of those storms are losing their luster because we're getting farther into the evening hours. The sun is setting, and we're losing the energy and the instability for the storms. But we're still quite a few severe warnings down here east of Little Rock and Pine Bluff. That's between Little Rock and Memphis. So we'll be watching those mainly for hail, but there could be some damaging winds. Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for asking, Haley. Appreciate it. You'll let me know if you like El Nino. Sounds good. Thank you. All right, guys. Well, be safe down here if you live into North Texas tomorrow. Again, we'll have more updates on Twitter. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the Twitter handle is on the screen or in the description below. Just follow me at HWeather420. I'll also have another weather forecast video for you guys tomorrow morning, like always. And again, please be safe out there tomorrow. More big hail, more damaging winds. Again, over 60 miles per hour, and also a few tornadoes possible. Be safe if you live in the southern plains. And again, on Saturday, farther to the east across the Gulf Coast, so New Orleans, Mobile, and then over here towards North Florida, just watch out for severe weather on Saturday. Some of those storms could produce damaging winds and hail. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining. I hope everybody has a great rest of your evening out there and a safe Friday and a safe weekend. And I'll see you all in tomorrow's video. Good night, everybody.